You are on the punchline with James Dominguez and Kelly Pavlik. He's here. He's coming right now. He had to turn the radio down a little bit, but he'll be right here. Welcome to the show, guys. We have a lot of things to talk about today, and one of the big things we're talking about is Errol Spence and Sean Porter fight, and here comes Kelly right now. But we are talking about the fights, and we got Triple G coming up this weekend, which is going to be huge.
I was really rubbing down Justine.
Well, I was telling Justin about our plans. Oh, crap. You know what? I always hate this because it takes me such a long time to get plugged into the show.
What's going on, guys?
Have you seen, hey, the shows haven't been going on the air?
Oh, yeah, Justin. Last 2 weeks, the show, once we're done with it,
it doesn't post on Facebook, the shows. That's why we've been stuck at like 400 views. What's good, Esteban? There goes Esteban, starting shit.
Yeah.
Esteban, what was he doing today? Starting some shit, huh?
No, he didn't.
I know. I'm joking with Esteban. Hey, and there's Kelly, my friend Kelly Morgan, the beautiful Kelly Morgan.
You get what I'm saying on that?
Oh yeah.
We probably could have had totally forgot about it though.
Yeah. So where do you want to get? You want to get back? You want to get right into this?
I do.
Or do you? I do. I saw that goat the other day. So what'd you think, Sean Porter, Errol Spence? How'd that go?
It went good, and I'm going to answer these real quick.
Go ahead.
Fury Unit says, "How's the champ doing?"
The champ's doing great.
Good, Fury. Good fella said, "What's up, guys?" And Leonard Holt said, "Awesome. Get to the chat with the champ again." Thanks, guys, for being on.
The champ and the other guy.
I thought the fight. No.
The champ and the fan. Remember the fan?
Oh yeah.
The champ and just the fan.
I thought the fight was a fantastic fight. I thought it was great for boxing.
Yeah.
I thought, everybody. I got a little pissed off, unfortunately, with social media in 2019 going on these boxing groups. Everybody's knocking and
I don't even go in these groups anymore.
Yeah, saying Spence's pound for pound. He got knocked down.
Yeah.
They're knocking him down in it, and I just don't quite understand why the guy fought Porter. Everybody that Porter fights
has had trouble.
Has looked ugly in there.
I thought Danny Garcia looked the best with him.
Yeah, it still wasn't the best performance.
No.
I don't get it. Sean Porter is a phenomenal fighter, guys. He's different. Awkward. And that's why I say phenomenal, because he gets away with it, because he obviously, you got to have some type of gift to be able to do a fight like he does. And it ain't luck. He ain't just do it against this guy, that guy. He knows how to fight, and that's his game plan is great.
Well, going into this fight, Kelly, you hit it right on the head, which I didn't even. I didn't get that right, but I'm just a fan, so that's my new thing. I'm just a fan. Hey, but you said that Sean Porter would make it a dirty fight. You said not dirty, but he would be his timing would be off. He would be in his face. He would make it rough on Spence, and Spence would have problems. I personally didn't think so. I thought Spence would keep him at the end of his punches, and it'd be an easy night for Spence. I honestly did.
Yeah.
And I love Sean. You know that. I like Sean, but I just thought Spence would. And it's no disrespect to Spence or Sean Porter, but I think Sean Porter just showed he has a lot more ability than he's given credit for.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm going. I mean, it was a fight. It was a great fight. No, Spence don't get knocked down in a pound for pound in my book.
I hate that shit. Oh, Errol Spence is exposed. You get the fuck out of here with that exposed shit. It's always there. Anytime a fighter slips or doesn't look as good as they advertise, they've been exposed.
Okay, well, let me ask this point, and that's a good point. And guys that are listening, I'm going to throw this in.
Yeah.
So Errol Spence, because he didn't look bad.
He didn't at all.
He had, I was talking with somebody else before I get into this.
Yeah.
He didn't look bad. Sean Porter made him look bad, as Sean Porter done with a lot of other guys. If he lost or won, it was a tough fight, and Porter does that. So you can't say Spence looked bad. All the people were trying to do at that point is take the credit away from Porter in the fight that he fought, which is bullshit, and you're also trying to take credit away from Spence.
Well, Spence did that on his own, too.
But why? Okay, and now let's talk about all-time great, who I say is an all-time great, one or two or three, arguably, and ever, Floyd Mayweather. Where was where was everybody saying, oh, well, I just knocked Floyd back to number out of the top 10 when he lost to Castillo? And they gave him the fight. Nobody went and did what they were doing with Spence. Where were they at when Mayweather had a controversial fight with Maidana? Nobody was saying Floyd Mayweather is not a top pound-for-pound fighter. Well, and those are fights that arguably could have went either way.
You got some questions here, Kelly. Great fight by Darren Shabat. Great fight, but I had it closer on the cards. I did too. I had it 115, 112.
I did too.
And before you say anything, do we, when we score fights, do we talk about the scores until after the fight?
No, I actually was rounding mine up after the fight where, and it gave me the score. And then I talked to my dad for like 20 minutes before I even texted you.
Yeah.
I had it 115, 112, and the fight came down to the last 2 rounds.
It did.
If Porter,
that knockdown saved it from a draw.
Yeah. If Porter don't get knocked down and wins that last round, that's his fight. I thought Porter fought a great fight. Nobody was giving him a chance. Let's be real. Nobody really was.
No.
And that was a close fight. You're talking about a matter of a round because there was a lot of rounds in there too. Don't get me wrong. That could have went either way. So in my scoring, I could see where it could have been a draw. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say you're crazy for that.
Where Spence, I think personally, where Spence looked bad, where he lost some of those rounds, was him losing his balance when he got hit. It doesn't look good for the judges when you get hit and you back up and hit the ropes. It's not saying you're hurt. It's just saying it doesn't look good for the judges because you're not controlling the ring. And a lot of people don't know, but when you judge a fight, there's 5 points that judges look for. They look for 5 points. They look for offense, defense, controlling the action, ring generalship, and staying busy,
exactly.
Right? And those are the 5 points that judges are supposed to look for. I don't believe that they do. I think they only look for 1 or 2.
Fury Unit says, Spence Porter was a very good fight. It was a brawl. Uncle Sham says, former NFL Pro Bowl wide receiver Brandon Marshall says he's training for a heavyweight run.
Why not?
Called out Fury and Wilder. Is he going to get rocked? He could. Yeah, he can.
Yes.
And he could also probably come in. The heavyweight division is kind of made for that. I mean, a lot of your heavyweights were not athletes coming up. They were just guys that were big.
Look what happened to Seth Mitchell, though, when he came in.
Well, I know, but you also had a lot of guys that became great.
Yeah.
Norton's.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Uncle Sham said, too, I think Danny Garcia is a tougher fight for Spence than Porter.
You know what? I don't know. I don't.
Danny has trouble with people who run around all over the place and move their head. Spence doesn't really do that. I totally disagree.
But Danny comes right to you, which is in Spence's wheelhouse.
It is, and Danny is not nowhere near as strong as Sean Porter, and that's just being realistic, guys. If you want to argue that, you could try to till you're blue in the face, but Danny Garcia is not as strong, physically strong, and as a brute like Sean Porter, and Spence will have fun with that. I see Danny Garcia being actually an easy fight.
Kelly Morgan says, my friend Kelly, she says, you boys need a bigger table to handle all those muscles. And Kelly's spit bottle. You.
That's right. Oh, shit, you see it.
That's not mine, Kelly. But, no.
Hey, Major League guys are allowed to do it, so are we.
I agree with you 100% on what you said. Danny Garcia, that style comes to Errol Spence, and Errol Spence shines when you come right to him. Look when Kell Brook came right to him. Kell Brook and Esteban had a point that was Spence's hardest fight. But Spence was inexperienced at the time. He was not as experienced as he is now. That fight would never be the same as it was then.
And listen, I don't for a second. I mean, you can say what you want, but everybody's saying that Triple G ruined Kell Brook for that fight. I don't think so. I mean, don't get me wrong. Once you break that orbital bone, it probably could be broken again, but you also got to be getting punched in it for it to break.
Seven C's, my college roommate, dorm V7. The V7 pimp house we were in. He said it was way closer than anyone thought it would be. I agree 100%, Jake.
Ricardo said, what do you guys think Victor Ortiz calling Mikey Garcia?
Why not?
He
wants to take that L, go ahead.
Yep.
Victor Ortiz needs to call an attorney. He doesn't need Mikey Garcia.
Yeah.
He needs saltpeter.
I mean, that right there is just the obvious, when you start calling out, like, have a fight. I mean, hey, my comeback when I was thinking about it, I didn't call nobody out, and you damn well
calling you out.
Yeah, and you damn well didn't hear me call anybody like Usyk out.
Fucking Tony Bellew jumped in there, and Cunningham.
They all wanted me.
Steve Cunningham, the USS bankruptcy. USS bankrupt, call you out to fight.
I wish boxing fans would treat a great fight when they see it on like MMA fans. A close loss in MMA does not take a fighter's stock or lower the winner's stock.
But it affects their pay because MMA fighters do not make what boxers make.
Yeah.
And let me tell you.
He's talking about the fans.
Oh, I understand that.
And I agree.
But what I'm saying is, and I'm not being mean or anything. You know, I love Matt Brown. But if a world champion level boxer had the record of Matt Brown, he would be scraping dishes at the Olive Garden. Yeah, he wouldn't. I mean, do you know what I mean? There's a difference.
Well, Matt Brown, a lot of them guys agree with that, though.
Matt's an amazing monster. Yeah. He's a monster. But what I'm saying is, in MMA, you can get away with a losing record as long as you still are a good fighter and you're putting asses in the seats. Boxing's unforgiving when it comes to that.
You lose one, you're done.
You lose two.
Yeah, you lose two Coitons.
And you lose three. The only reason Broner gets big fights because he's an asshole.
Yeah, well, you get guys like Pac that people still, action-packed fighters, people are still going to watch too.
Yeah.
Mike Donahue says, what do you guys think of John Molina Jr. retiring?
I think it's a good thing. I like John a lot. I think John's fantastic, and I think time runs out on everyone.
Because he took too many shots from the get-go. I mean, all of his fights, he's always.
But we called it. We said John has that puncher's chance, and
yeah, and he stuck around because of that.
He did. And Johnny Steele's on, my buddy Johnny. Do you ever think we'll see Spence and Porter? Harvey, you know what? I would not be surprised right now.
Spence and Porter?
Or not Spence. Did you say Spence? No, we already seen that fight. Harvey, are you talking about Crawford and Porter? And that's another thing too that I'm seeing. Crawford is overrated now. He hasn't fought anybody. Yeah. You know, the whole Crawford, I hate Crawford shit's coming up now. And I seen even my friend Keon, I was reading his stuff today saying that Crawford hasn't fought anybody. I don't know why people are going on these fucking resumes. If you look at Crawford's resume, it's pretty fucking solid. It's a solid fucking resume.
I've seen a couple arguments on that. Well, as soon as he fights the 147 pounder, that's, this, that.
That dude.
I don't want to hear that, man.
Hey, people, he Ndongo. Okay. Postal's a good fighter. Ray Beltran was a fucking world champion. Yeah. And that, people don't even remember that.
And then how he just takes them apart, too.
And the way he does it. Sometimes it's not who you fought, it's how you fight.
I don't even want to read this one.
What does it say?
Good fellas. Spence versus Paul Williams, who wins? I think.
Early Paul Williams or net Paul Williams now?
Oh, man. I got,
Well, I don't know. Maybe that's what he meant. If definitely Spence right now.
I would have took Paul Williams.
I would have took Paul. He just had more action packed.
Paul Williams was more of a, in my opinion, I think he was best at junior middleweight and, he even fought as high. I think he fought middleweight.
Keon says he's watching. Yeah, Keon, I saw your post, but I can't comment. I'm in Facebook jail. But I will say certain points I agree with, but Crawford is special. And for anybody to discount how special he is way crazy. He cleaned the 140 division out. These fighters, they don't get choices. There's not the choices there. They fight who's in that division. And right now, he's new to 47. We'll see what happens. But I am not going to say this guy somehow is overrated or anything like that. Crawford is one of the best. And if you've had a chance to see this guy in person, he's special.
Yep.
And just like Spence is. Nothing on Spence. Spence is a special fighter too. But Crawford is, you know what I told Damon this. I said, and you know more than anybody, and so does Justin. If you look in Crawford's eyes, he's not normal. This dude is a predator. You know what I mean? This dude has eyes like a harp seal. He just wants to be a predator. He wants to hurt you. And I respect that. I like that.
Let me get some of these. Here we go. Pat Garcia update. Thoughts on the fight when it takes place?
Pat, which Garcia? Mikey?
Yeah, I guess it's getting close.
It is getting close. Right now, they're at 9. As far as I know, they're at 98%. It's a venue issue.
It's a hard fight to call. I'm probably going to go again with my boy Mikey.
My thing is this: I think people are shitting on Mikey. He lost to Errol Spence. All of a sudden, Mikey's overrated.
Jumped 2 weight classes.
He jumped 2 weight. I know.
I don't give a fuck if anybody says don't make excuses.
No. Mikey is overrated, right? Or what was the word? He'd been exposed. I heard. A guy, you're not gonna be 39 and want to be exposed. The guy jumped 2 weight classes. He lost, and he lost big. Nothing wrong with that. But I am not gonna sit there and say, "Hey, this guy's gonna get dominated by fucking everybody he fights now," because that ain't gonna happen.
No, it ain't. It sucks. Oh, here we go. Personal question for both. James, And Kelly, who were the best you faced in the amateurs?
Oh, shit.
I'm going to have to say probably when I beat Darnell Wilson, he was going for the record. I don't think anybody would have probably beat the five straight U.S. championships.
Olympian Darnell Wilson.
I would have to say him. Obviously, Taylor, he was out of all the guys I fought the talent. He won a gold medal.
Yeah.
Or not gold, Olympic medal, bronze. And then I would have to say I would have to probably go with Tiger Allen the next one because at the time I fought Tiger, he was smoking through the.
His brother was a monster too.
Yeah,
Rock.
yeah, but I think Tiger had a little bit more.
Yeah. He was bigger.
No, he was later.
Was he really bigger? I thought it was Rock.
He was 125.
Okay. Do you remember he weighed in for his brother at the Nationals? You remember that?
Yeah.
For me, I would say either Ricardo Williams was the best, or Panchito Bojado were the two best I ever fought, or David Diaz. I fought David Diaz. Yeah. He was a 96 guy in 139.
It's hard for me with Diaz because I know Craig could beat him. And then during Diaz was
as an amateur though.
Yeah, it was like 93.
He beat him in the amateurs.
Yeah,
Diaz was good, but I would say Panchito and Ricardo Williams might have been the most talented amateur I've ever seen. And I'm not being biased because I fought him, but most people will tell you.
I think Ricardo Williams by far for the United States. Nick says I lean towards Mikey in a pack fight. I agree. And
I know people are gonna say, "Oh, you guys just like Mikey, you know Mikey." Look, and here's my thing. Manny has a problem with counterpunchers, and he always has. Let's not.
No, Leonard, not that Darnell Wilson. Sorry, bro.
Manny has always had trouble with counterpunchers. We've seen it before. He's had trouble with them. Mikey is a great counterpuncher. His timing is great, and he's a great counterpuncher, and he is the bigger guy. They're saying, "Whoa." Manny's 147, but he's a small 147. He's a guy that's 5'5" if he's lucky. So, like I said,
but Manny's also fought as high as
54.
Yeah,
this guy is solid, and I'm not taking this fight lightly. I'm saying that we're gonna have a fight. There's some.
Yeah. Emilio goes, "What do you fellas think of Amir Imam? He's a top rank now, rumored to fight Crawford." I don't know. I haven't even.
Imam got knocked out pretty hard not too long last year or 2 years ago. I don't know, man. Crawford is a different breed.
And Uncle Sham, I don't think Derevchenko has any chance against Triple G.
It's going to be a rough one.
He might a little bit because of age. It depends on what age or how Triple G shows up for this fight. Yeah.
Esteban said the same thing. Thoughts on Triple G, Derevchenko this week. I think it'll be a close fight. I think Triple G's just going to do what Triple G does, win.
Yeah.
And Tom Cordell says Crawford, without a doubt, the best fighter out there, takes it to the bank.
And I can agree with that. Finally, Tom.
I don't agree with Tom and his score with Porter though, and fucking Spence. He had like 118, 110 for Porter or some crazy shit. I said, Tom, you got to get off the shit, bro.
Ricardo says, I hope Mikey takes the fight with Victor, so Brandon Rios could laugh at Victor after the fight. Victor said now that his training with Freddie Roach, he's ready for anybody. I don't know about that. We've seen a couple guys Roach trained.
Yeah. Hey, Roach will call you up and cuss you out. Kelly.
That's not right. Nick said Mike has great timing. Pac struggles with that.
I said the same thing. But don't sell. I'm not saying Manny is dangerous and fucking. He's an offensive machine still.
He is, yeah. But and again, any night now, also with that fight, that's another reason why I'm going this way is because any night his age could show up. And I'm not taking nothing away from Mikey's victory away from that.
No,
but it's true.
Hey, Paul said this is for you, Kelly. Kelly, I'm a fan who talked to you in the drive-in through Columbiana a few weeks back. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Jennifer Sharp's watching. Hey, Jennifer.
Jose Alejandrez says, I think Triple G going down maybe twice. Jose, he can too. I'm not arguing that. Like, it's a fight. I mean, everybody seems to think that Triple G, I think Triple G is going to win, but I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, though. I mean, he may end up knocking Derevchenko out, but I see it being somewhat of a fight for a little bit. I do.
I see it. I like Derevchenko. He gave, what was it? He gave what the fuck, Danny Jacobs hell. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys think of Benavidez versus Harvey? Asked this. What do you guys think of Benavidez versus Caleb? Look, I've seen people get on there saying, I've seen people say Benavidez has been exposed this week. Let me tell you what, I like Caleb. Caleb's a good dude, but Benavidez is going to go to 10 pieces of his ass.
Yeah. I like Caleb too, and I want to see Caleb, stay champion.
Tom said 113, 116 for Porter. Yeah, we're just messing with you, Tom. I had it. Sorry, bro, but I had it 115, 112 for Spence.
113, even with the knockdown.
How did you have 113, 116 with the knockdown?
Well, you could because it's swing.
Yeah, it's a swing round. But I had it 112, 115 for Spence. I don't see. I mean,
you're talking about almost a full shutout for Spence with a score like that, or for Porter.
113, 116.
Yeah, and then with the knockdown,
two rounds and a knockdown. I don't know. Man.
Yeah, but Spence didn't get dropped. Yeah.
No, Spence didn't get dropped.
Porter got dropped. So he's saying we had 116 and 113 for Porter.
Porter, yes. Tom did. Tom, you're like Marcus. You're on that Ohio shit.
Mikey versus Manny will be like the Manny versus Juan Manuel Marquez series.
Except for Juan might hit harder.
Yeah, the only thing is I don't think Manny will stick around for the series.
No, he's gonna cash out big. I see Manny making every bit of $20 million on that fight.
Yeah.
Because Mikey ain't gonna take any home less than 12.
Soapbox says Benavidez all the way. I agree. What's up, Damon? Anyone else think Barrios got a gift decision on Spence undercard?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Barrios did get a gift decision.
Yeah,
I watched
close.
I watched it. I just saw that Parker pulled out of the Chisora fight. Yeah, that's what Parker does, man.
What was this one I got right here?
Jennifer has a question. Off the subject, but is the Sweet Science app going to be available on Android anytime soon?
We're working on that. Yes, it will be. We're hoping probably by November.
Steve Stoller said, armchair corner. Fucking shit. Oh, sorry about that. Steve Stoller said, armchair cornermen think everybody gets exposed. Fanboys.
Yeah. Francesca goes, guys, I've recently got so bored of boxing.
Oh, what?
It could happen.
What?
Hey, listen, guys, seriously? If I didn't have this show,
I wouldn't watch it.
I wouldn't be fucking. I actually, to be honest with you, there's a lot of fights I miss because this ain't my job. But we do love interacting with you guys, so that is why I do watch the fights.
Yeah,
as much as I can. Believe me, I'm not going to go out of my way to.
People think that we watch every fight. You know what I mean? I said no. We watch highlights of the little fights and we watch the big fights. But before we started doing the show, we didn't watch many fights. Yep. We didn't even talk boxing, did we?
Benavidez versus Zurdo at 175. I got Benavidez. I don't think Zurdo's that good, guys. And
no,
I think the higher he climbs, then now he's out, and I think Benavidez is a big boy. I got Benavidez.
My thing, I've always said this about Zurdo. It's the same with Jaime Munguia. I think they've reached as good as they're going to get. They've reached that plateau. They reached that high level they're going to be at, and they're not going to get any better. You are what you get with these guys, and it's nothing bad. Sean Franco says Mikey versus the winner of Prograis Taylor. Who wins? I think it depends who he's fighting. Of the winner of that. Prograis is an amazing fighter. He is so good. I think he beats Taylor. I really do. Yeah. Just because I saw Taylor take a lot of shots in that last fight he was in, and
I'm still up in the air on that fight.
I know you are.
I don't know.
Hey, before we talk,
I think everybody likes matching Mikey against people because of the Spence fight, and I think you guys are still taking. And again, I'm not saying this because I trained with Mikey's brother and I'm cool with Mikey and I was a part of the Garcia camp. I just, am I a little biased? Dude, honestly, I wouldn't. And everybody is. And I think everybody's a lot more biased to the point of being naive.
But we're also smart enough to know, like, if he fought Crawford, how that would go. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're smart enough to know.
So, but what I'm saying, like, everybody's throwing his name out there against everybody now.
Because he can be beat by everybody.
Yeah, like, you guys are forgetting what this kid has accomplished and what he's done. I mean, you don't do that shit. You don't win that many weight classes as being a world champion and having a record that this guy does and beating the crap out of guys like Broner that not many have, like wiping out Broner almost every round. You don't do that.
Juan Ma in his prime. Juan Ma. Lipinets, who's running through divisions.
Through everybody. So you guys cut the shit on that. I mean, like, Mikey's a fantastic fighter, and for 1 second that you think Pacquiao is going to go in there and run through him, you totally hopped off the train, and now you're blocking yourself too, and you're being one-sided. Like, Mikey can fight, and I don't know what you guys don't understand about that. The 3 or 4 weight class, 4 division champion. You don't do that shit being average, guys. So come on, let's stop with that.
Esteban says, did you guys notice how Akhmanov was caught reaching twice by Barrios. Couldn't set the distance early with his jab. Both knockdowns were his gloves touching. I think a lot of it too, Esmond, you're right, I agree. But a lot of that, when that happens, and Kelly will tell you when that happens, when they reach like that, it means that their chin is going past their knee and they're getting caught. That's why their gloves are hitting the canvas a lot of times. They go forward and hit the canvas because there's like it's like a no-go zone is when that chin gets past the front knee. Yeah. And when they get hit, you'll fall forward and your gloves will touch the canvas. And I think that's what happened. And that's a big time Russian mistake that they've always had. They're kind of top heavy. Jake
Miller goes, Kelly, would your coach as a kid deal with you messing around in both southpaw and orthodox during training like Crawford did? No, he didn't. I actually took it on behalf of myself to do it because I actually right left-handed. Well, I right both hands. And I would screw around left-handed even when I played baseball. I was bat left-handed, so I kind of did it on my own too, and it worked out. But another thing about a lot of times when you see guys turn to southpaw, not Crawford, because Crawford comes out in the first round as a southpaw, but when I see a guy go to southpaw, usually that tells me he's tired, and that's what you usually see when they switch.
Can I ask you a question on that? Do you think Rudy would have allowed me to go southpaw and back and forth?
No.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah. Do you think any point Rudy was like, yeah, just switch back and forth? Hell no.
I'm gonna hit Damon's question up. He goes, guys, how come fans are talking about the actual technical boxing match of Spence versus Porter? Everyone's talking about pay-per-view numbers and interviews.
Because they a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, and they don't. I mean, it was a fight. It was a hard. Most fans will sit there and say it wasn't a technical fight. It was.
It wasn't.
It was a rough housing.
No, it was technical.
But it was, and that's another one I want to go on too. Like everybody was talking about the low blows.
Yeah.
Listen, man, it was a dog fight. These guys were battling. I mean, most of them punches were borderline. You don't stop a fight and call the action in a fight for borderline punches like that when both are doing it, and it's that close and that rugged of a fight. You let that go, let that be a fight. There was a handful of, or maybe 3 or 4 low blows, and all 3 or 4 on both parties on that was due to somebody having their elbow or forearm on the back of the head too, being pulled down. So like that's another one. Like stop with that shit. And then it was a great fight.
Oh, that referee's garbage. He should never referee again. This is Jack fucking Reese. Jack Reese is probably one of the best referees in boxing. Mm-hmm. He is. I'm not, and I don't have any skin in the game. I'm just telling you, Jack Reese is probably one of the best referees in the business. He let the fight go because he didn't want to interject himself 20 fucking times for every time they held each other, or every time they hit right on the belt line. There's no reason to interject yourself for that. Let the fight go.
Played Prowl says, anyone see the new list of potential International Boxing Hall of Fame inductees? Thought I saw a woman will now be available.
Yes, women are available now.
And they should be.
Amy Green is on the board now. Our publicist, she's on the board cool. for the.
Uncle Sham says Taylor has fought much better fighters than Prograis. Prograis looks good, but still I don't know what to expect from him against better competition.
Sometimes talent tells. You guys got to quit going on resume all the time. The resume only speaks so much because Prograis has a fuckload of talent, guys. And sometimes talent tells. I mean, okay, let's do this. When James Toney fought Roy Jones, who had the better resume? James Toney, right? And what did Roy Jones do with very little of a resume? He walked right through James Toney. He walked through Bernard Hopkins. This is what I'm saying, guys. Sometimes talent speaks volumes. It's not always about you guys. People get so stuck on this resume shit. You cannot do a triangle theory in boxing. If you do a triangle theory in boxing, you're going to lose 99% of the time because one fight doesn't turn out like this fight, or this fight doesn't turn out like this fight, because everybody's different.
Jose says, I was crushed on the Barrios fight. I wanted him to win. Nick says, Mikey versus Crawford would be a great fight, closer in size than Spence was.
They're not closer in size.
They're not. Crawford's tall and big. Good fellows. Manny versus Mikey. No, it's not official yet.
That's close, but not official.
Porter Spence was a classic.
Thank you, Patrick. There's a question here. Harvey Butler, Boxing Vortex. Teofimo said he wants to take the belt from Comey fight, Lomachenko, and then move up fight Prograis. Comey is no slouch, so he'll have to be on the game that night. I agree, Harvey.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what I've said on this show many times. Teofimo is a special fighter. He's special. And I've said it before. A lot of these fighters from Africa, from the continent of Africa, they fight that same style. They're rugged, and they come forward, and they bully you. But you know the one thing about African fighters, me and Kelly's talked about it too. The same with the Cubans, the same with some of the Europeans. They don't have a plan B, C, and D, and that's the problem. If you can get some of these fighters like Comey and some of these other ones out of their comfort zone, it's how do you say it? Quaitons? Clayton's. And we proved it with Navarrete in his last fight. Navarrete took this guy out of his comfort zone twice, right?
Yep.
And destroyed him. And it was always the same. Look at guys like Ike Corte. He was taken out of his comfort zone. And some of these guys are great, but even Azuma Nelson, as great as he was, didn't have a plan B, C, and D.
And then Goodfellow says, why do a lot of these young fighters want to do the Philly shell shoulder roll?
Because they think it's easy.
I don't know. They see it, and I think that they see guys like Mayweather doing it, and it becomes an image thing, you know, and it's like a little trend. Yeah. And so a lot of them get into it, and it's kind of simple for anybody to do. I used to do it when I was playing around with somebody.
I do sparring.
It's you guess you could think you could do it. Uncle Sham says, Porter versus Spence on pay-per-view. Wilder versus Ortiz on pay-per-view.
That fight already happened. Porter and Spence already happened.
They're saying Spence next fight versus Danny G will be on pay-per-view. Remember when the PBC fanboys were saying PBC was all about putting boxing on free TV?
It's because PBC has a contract with Fox now.
Yeah.
And PBC doesn't run that anymore. Now it's Fox who runs that network.
And everybody wants the money.
It's not PBC, it's Fox that makes that decision. And trust me, Fox does a hell of a job, don't they? Fox does a great job. What they have over 300,000 buys for this fight. 350, they think, by the time the numbers. That's great numbers.
Not bad.
People cannot say that Spence doesn't draw because Spence draws.
Hey, look at the arena.
And you know, Mikey was only 325,000, so he outdrew Mikey for this fight. And Spence is getting better every time.
Steve Z says, not sure if you covered this, but Spence was in the middle low a lot in the first few rounds. Porter is a stud for not complaining about them.
Porter doesn't complain very much. You know what?
I don't see. I mean, they were borderline.
Yeah. Well, you know, the only thing I didn't like about Spence was kind of losing his composure in the post-fight press conference. Porter's being classy and Spence is making excuses. I came in 30 pounds overweight. That's your fault. Yeah. That's your fucking fault. Don't use that as an excuse because your night was bad because you couldn't stop eating.
Well, we'll just listen to the after fight with Porter, the interview.
Yeah.
And how classy and how humble he was.
He's always that way, though.
To me, and I know there's a lot of people like me. A lot of course, they're flamboyant, flashy, being ignorant sometimes for the most part.
Yeah.
Of course, that grabs people and that brings attention. Floyd showed that, and it worked. Yeah. But also, there's a lot of people out there that like after a fight, after a war like that, it's like a fresher breath there to hear guys like Porter talk and interview and the things that he says, and it makes you want to go back and see him do even 3 times better. You know what I mean? I think it's good for the sport. I think he's an asset for the sport. And I'm not saying about Spence. You know I love Errol Spence. I'm just saying absolutely
that excuse is not valid. That I was.
Spence ain't that bad either.
No, he's
classy.
No, he is classy and he's very nice. I can tell a story when we saw him in Dallas. What did he do? Yeah. He came over, sat next to us, said hi. Or you, right? Mm-hmm. And like I said, we were in Dallas for the Mikey Spence fight, and I'll tell you, everybody that was with us at that table, what was that restaurant called? Do you remember that restaurant in Dallas? Papado's, right? Yeah. We were at Papado's eating, and the Charlos were there, and then we saw Spence, and one of my friends that was there with us and his wife, they saw Spence go in the bathroom, but Vada was there testing him. Do you remember? Yeah. So they waited on Spence by the bathroom door for like 30 minutes. And Spence came out after pissing. He signed everything. He took autographs, did not complain. Wait, and then we were walking. He turned around. He saw Kelly across the restaurant. He walked over, sat down, said hello to Kelly, and sat for a few minutes. And then you have the guys like the Charlos that sat there and ignored you weren't shit, right? Yep. So that says something about Spence's character too.
What's up, Dr. Domus?
What kind of person he is. But like I was saying though, I think that the excuse that I was 25 or 30 pounds, that falls on you at the end of the day.
It does.
If by you not controlling your diet. And did it have an effect? It could be. But, you know, that falls on you. That's not even viable anymore.
Box of News says, thanks for tuning into the Instagram part too, Box of News. He goes, who has more power, Spence or Crawford? And I got to go ahead and say, Crawford. I think Spence, overall brute strength, I think he has that part of it. And I think the one... as far as like knockout punch, I think, you know, a lot of people don't give Crawford credit. I think he has that zinging pop, but they're both strong at welterweight. Spence will hurt you. Yes. Don't sleep on that. Spence will hurt you big time, and it'll hurt you to the body too. Mm-hmm.
I think Crawford is a bigger puncher, and And I think Crawford's more of a pinpoint puncher. I think he's right on target. He's accurate.
Yep.
So that makes you scary. But for physical strength, I think Spence might be the physically stronger guy. But for punching power, I think it's Crawford.
Yeah, Soap says, James, our amateurs need to quit trying to out-Cuban the Cubans. The Eastern Europeans don't do that. Look how successful they are. Soap Boxing Podcast.
I agree.
Yeah, and the Eastern Europeans are tearing it up.
And that's because the problem is, see, with a lot of the Cubans, like I was talking about, the same with some of the fighters from Africa, they don't have a plan B and C. But our fighters haven't all picked up on that yet. That if you change something or you adapt a little bit, they won't be able to keep up. Do you remember when David Reed figured it out with Alfredo de Vergel in the '96 Olympics? Alfredo was whooping David Reed's ass, wasn't he? Yep. And David started throwing that right hand and landing that right home and knocked him out. He went to a different plan that he didn't have before.
Henry Ford says, how did Tio Lopez manage and avoid Devin Haney and get a title shot?
He didn't avoid anybody.
I think Devin Haney destroys Tio Lopez. I don't think so. I think I still got Tio, and I think Haney's a fantastic fighter. Don't get me wrong. And I think it's actually an up in the air fight. And I'll say it this way: I'm leaning towards Tio in that fight. Yeah. And I think it's a great fight to really see now what Tio's about. I mean, it's a fight that I'm looking forward to. Haney can bring it, so let's see. You know,
but that's another thing too. Everybody says that somebody's ducking somebody. Most of these guys, the majority of guys, they're not ducking. These guys are all professional fighters. They're athletes. They're not scared. They're not scared of another fucking dude. That's like, they're not scared. This is what they've been doing for 20 years. They're gonna wake up one morning and say, I don't want to fight him. This comes down to management. A lot of these people on here work in the business. They'll tell you, these guys are like, well, a lot of these guys are management, promoters, matchmakers that are stopping us. Networks. It's not the fighters. And a lot of people think that these fighters have control where they can decide who they're fighting, who they don't.
Richard says, Spence said he doesn't want to fight Crawford because his numbers were not good in his last fight. I think Crawford will win every round. I don't know about every round, but Dan Martinez says, can you guys explain for the new Spence Patrol fanboys how fights get made? Built and how it can that PBC and Top Rank make the fight and why they won't right now. Give them the business.
You want to? Give it to him? You're better than I am.
I mean, it's pretty simple right now. Top Rank and PBC are beefing.
They always have.
And that's what's happening. I mean, they're able to both promotional companies are able to go off and still make buku money without making the fight happen. And they think they're hurting each other, and they're not. They're hurting the fighters. Yeah. But listen.
Oh, before you go, Shayna's in Italy. Tell Shayna hi.
Oh, how you doing, Shayna? But they will eventually make that fight happen because they always do, and they'll come together, and it'll happen.
Money talks.
I think something about Terrence Crawford makes Spence not want to fight him. Yeah. To me, Crawford is too skilled and versatile, but still strong enough to deal with Spence.
There was a good comment here.
I think so, blah.
Spence has manners, Charlos don't. That's true.
Here we go. Iso Akun says, Spence is fighting better comp, so I doubt he's scared to fight him.
And Crawford's not scared either.
Neither one of them guys.
Neither one of these guys are scared. If you've seen the Crawford that I've seen, and I'm sure Justin's met Crawford too, does he look like a guy who's scared? This guy walked up on Usyk, like calling Usyk out over a chess game. You know what I mean? One thing from the show, somebody said, one thing Crawford has is an ill-tempered streak. He's accurate and just as his mindset as no one else. And I agree, he is. He has a killer instinct that's really hard to find.
And he's sharp. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing. He don't get frustrated. He don't lose his composure. Like he's in there and he goes like a surgeon. He just goes to work and does what he's supposed to do.
Steve Soller says, how do you see Danny Garcia Spence fight unfolding? I see Spence just beating him up.
I do too. I'm sorry, guys. I think Danny Garcia is a good fighter. I really do. But I don't think that he's quite at the point of going in and beating up on a guy like Spence.
Or Crawford.
Or
my gang. Or any one of these guys.
Yeah, I really don't.
Crawford's a great, Danny Garcia's a great fighter, but he's a one-handed fighter. Let's not forget, he has a left hook. Hook. And nothing wrong with that. And he has a lot of heart. But let's not forget what Thurman did to him. Let's not forget that, guys. You know, and I don't know. I just think that Spence is more a complete fighter. There was somebody here. Oh, Tony's watching. Amanda's watching. My cousin Eddie said, "I like to see Danny Garcia before a Mikey fight." Eddie,
I don't think we're going to see that.
I would like to see it, but they tried to make that fight, and Danny priced himself out. And I'm going to be honest, that's what happened. Danny didn't want the money that was offered, which he has that right to. He has the right to say, "I don't want to fight for whatever the price was. I don't want to fight for that. I want more money." So he has the right to do that, and it didn't work out.
Iso says Spence is fighting better. No, I've already said it. Porter hit Spence clean more than he hit Thurman and Garcia. He may have, but that don't take away. I mean, it's that type of fight. It's that style. You can't compare how one person did against a guy like Porter than how the other guy did.
Porter stuffs a lot of punches.
He does, and it's it's just an awkward thing. I mean, I'm sorry.
740 power punches, right?
You cannot use Sean Porter as a measuring stick, man. We know how this goes. I know how it goes in the pros. I mean, that has nothing to do with it. There was plenty of guys that I fought early in my career that I went, and I had it almost knocked everybody out there for a while, that I went to decision with, that a guy I destroyed even quicker ended up knocking out.
Yeah.
So you cannot do that. We got to stop that shit on that.
Well, shit. You fucking knocked Bronco McCart out, but Winky Wright couldn't knock out Bronco McCart, and that's what we're saying.
Well, I was the first one to ever knock out.
No, I know, but I'm saying is nobody else knocked him out. Winky Wright didn't do it for 3 or 4 times. They fought 3 times, right?
Exactly.
So they're going on. You can't go on triangle theories.
Michael Donahue says, "Where does Thurman fit in now?" I think. I'm gonna tell you why I like Thurman.
Thurman's a fantastic fighter.
I like him. Also, I just think he's. I do. I mean, I know we talked not a lot of shit on him, but we're not in agreement with his long delay and his time off. But I like Thurman. I mean, I think he's a cool dude. He seems cool as hell and nice. I think he's a good fighter. I really do. I think he could be a guy in there with these guys to fight. You know, I think some of the top guys though, like Spence, Crawford. You've seen what Manny Pacquiao did to him. Yeah. Do I think if Manny Pacquiao did that 147 right now with the likes of Spence and Crawford still there, he's maybe 4th or 5th right now.
Yeah. Tony Tapagundes, he says, there was no rematch clause for Porter Spence. I'd love to see an immediate rematch and wait it out. You know what? I don't think either one of them really wanted that. I think there's more money to be made for Spence to move on. Yeah. Then there's more money for Porter to move on at this point because his stock rose. His stock's big as shit. He can have Crawford. He can have Thurman again. He can have Danny Garcia. There's there's so many places he could go right now.
Blah blah says Porter probably doesn't get respect he deserves. Everyone thought he would just get steamrolled. I agree. Damon says, guys, what did you learn about Spence's fight game against Porter? Did anything stand out?
His heart.
Didn't notice.
His fucking heart.
Yeah, that's another thing. He went a 12 hard rounds in a shoving, a wrestling, boxing, tough ass fight. That showed, if anything, I'm gonna tell you, that showed me. Because when he goes 12 rounds with a guy like, if he goes 12, gets in the later rounds with a guy like Danny Garcia, who's nowhere near as strong as Porter, is not roughhousing, not getting into wrestling, he's going to be more dominant. I mean, that showed me more than him knocking out Porter in the 10th round. Yeah. So, again, there's nothing I could say on this fight with Spence and Porter
to compare
that was negative or that were compared. If anything, I got a lot out of it. I mean, Spence showed me. Porter already showed me dog fights. I knew that, and I expected that from Porter. Spence, on the other hand, showed me that he could do that for 12 rounds.
Eddie says, a lot of fans don't understand that body shots count like headshots in scoring. Body shots take more of the steam away. I agree, Eddie, but judges don't count the same way. And I'm sorry, it counts maybe for the fans, but judges don't score body shots. They still don't do it, and they don't score it the same way because that's why Triple G looked so good against Canelo, because Triple G was landing headshots. You remember that?
Yeah.
And Canelo was landing body shots. So how are you scoring that? And there's no wrong way to score it. I think some judges are still thinking that headshots count for more, which they kind of do.
Goodfellow says, for the love of God, please replace the Fox commentary with Showtime.
Shit, right? I agree. Or DAZN, or replace DAZN with anybody.
I think DAZN ain't.
Do you like DAZN?
I don't. I mean, honestly, I think Sergio Moore does.
Sergio Moore is good, but what about the dude?
The best commentator, man. They wouldn't even let that motherfucker speak.
Who?
He'd go to talk, and they'd be like, they do the introduction, they come out, and they go right down the road. Boom Boom's right next to the girl that's introduced everybody. They start with Wilder, and then they go to Garcia, and then they go to, it was Thurman, and then Boom Boom was and then they're like, and then they cut to Lennox Lewis. And then he tried to talk,
they're
they were like,
well, I don't know who's really fighting tonight, but
hey, Ricky made a good point here. He says Thurman needs a comeback fight with Broner. I can see that. That'd be good.
Broner retired again. Broner retired for the 10th time this
year. He'll
year.
come back, believe me.
I know. Darren says, after this past weekend, I still think Spence Crawford is a 50-50 fight. I think Crawford has all around. Spence is really big and strong. I said the same thing. I agree, Darren, 100%. It's a 50-50 fight. But if I had to take my $50 dollars, I'm going to put it on Crawford.
Goodfella says, who is Manny going to fight next then?
Mikey.
But if that don't happen,
it's Porter.
I think that you might get a Porter Pacquiao or you might get a Crawford.
Or Spence Pacquiao.
You could possibly get that, and I do not want to see that. I don't know.
Yama says, Kelly Pavlik versus Jermaine Taylor, one of the best I watch. Boxing miss you, champ. Kelly, stay away, though.
What's that?
Yama said, Kelly Pavlik versus Jermaine Taylor, one of the best I watch. Boxing miss you, champ. Kelly, stay away, though.
Oh, absolutely, bro. I appreciate that, too. Thanks for watching the fight.
Tony says, the zone commentary is trash. Sergio and Ray Leonard are the only ones who have stepped in the ring. I agree, but Ray Leonard, I don't think he's a great commentator either. Just because you fought doesn't make you a great commentator and doesn't make you a great trainer.
It does. I seen a thing on here about Canelo versus Spence at 154.
Canelo couldn't make 54.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to see that fight Spence is strong, and I'm a fan of Spence, but now going into like the weights.
Spence.
Canelo too big,
Canelo would abuse Spence. He would abuse him.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, guys. Because Canelo fights a lot of the way Porter does. He's going to fight the way he is up on the inside, up in his body, and he hits a lot harder, and he's better defensively. Canelo's defensively responsible.
Ricky says Spence versus Julian Williams.
Oh, Spence.
I don't know,
Julian Spence.
All I want is James versus Skip Bayless having a boxing debate.
Who said that?
Good
Skip Bayless don't know boxing.
Nick said Pac should stay away from Spence and Crawford, in my opinion, and I agree with you. I think Pac should hang him up now. I mean, I'm being honest, guys. He's going to end up getting Marquez replayed over again. I think that it's going to catch up to him. The time's going to catch up, and especially with the guys that you got running the game right now, the weight division, it's dangerous for Pac.
Joel says, I was a bit surprised on how easily Porter got to Spence's chin. If Spence showed anything, it was his iron chin. I think it's just a style of Porter. It's hard to time him. He doesn't have his timing. He has his timings off. And the worst thing in the world for a USA boxing trained fighter, an Olympic style fighter, which Spence is, he has an Olympic pedigree, is adapting to a guy that's that can't be timed. That's really hard on a fighter, and that's what happens.
Like Ugly and Proud says, am I the only one who doesn't need to see Pac in his 40s fighting monsters? I'm fine with him taking it easy in his final days. I agree. Yeah. Ugly and Proud, I agree with you 1,000%. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Maybe take one more easy fight and call it quits. You beat Thurman, one of the top welterweights. You had a storybook career, one of the best. People are going to always talk about Manny Pacquiao. Let it be done. Be safe. Go out with one more win.
He's a first ballot guy.
Yeah.
Tony says, agreed. Ray Leonard commentary isn't good. He just has ring experience. But a lot of times with these guys with ring experience, they have huge egos. I remember every time that Roy Jones get on the air, he would say, well, when I fought, and Ray Leonard does the same thing when I fought, and they don't translate well into other people's careers because they're still wrapped up in the history of their career. I personally think the best commentator in the sport is Paulie Malignaggi.
Oh, yeah. Paulie's great. A lot of guys that are still good. I like listening to Goosen.
I like Joe Goosen as well. He's very experienced too.
He don't use all of his knowledge and belittle anybody.
No. I like Lennox Lewis. I like Lennox as a commentator.
I like Lennox Lewis in person. Goodfella says, if Floyd was in his prime, who would he beat out of the welterweights now?
All of them.
I would say Floyd's one of the guys that he could beat.
All of them?
All of them, because of what he did at even junior middleweight. I would have to go with Floyd. I think now Crawford, I think that's a hell of a fight.
The great Terry Lane's watching.
Because Crawford don't come in and he don't bum rush. Yeah. Crawford is a long, sharp, he picks you apart type fighter. That would be a hell of a fight, man, between them. I know everybody say, well, who did Crawford fight to tell you that?
Talent, baby. Talent. You don't need to tell me shit. I don't need a resume. I don't need a resume to see what I see.
That would have been a hell of a stylistic matchup because because Crawford don't jump in, he uses his reach, he jabs, he
quarter steps,
half
steps.
He's smart. I mean, he's almost as or every bit as smart as Floyd is, believe it or not. Floyd was really smart. I mean, so he was gifted, but I think that his wit for boxing is what really made Floyd as good as he is.
Yeah.
And you got Crawford, not only that has the ability and athletic ability, the skill set, but also the knowledge of the sport.
True, I agree. It says, oh, the great Terry Lane's on here.
Terry,
Terry.
What's going
on? Would a healthy Keith Thurman, Tony asked again, would a healthy Keith Thurman give a Spence a good fight? Of course, I think Thurman would definitely give Spence a good fight, but I think the same outcome it'd be the same outcome or even a harder outcome on him because Spence is a strong guy. He is strong and big.
Steve goes, Crawford versus Floyd plays out like Floyd versus Zab, or how different? No, it don't. Zab was small, a lot smaller than Crawford. Zab had a different style than Crawford. And no offense, I think Zab was a great fighter, and I'm cool. I like Zab, but I think Crawford was just a smarter, better fighter and skilled.
Zab was slick. Zab was a slick, strong fighter, but he wasn't.
That only got him so far, though.
Yeah. Yama says, don't you guys think Haney should stay away from Loma at least now? I agree. I think Haney should. I think Teofimo should too. I think right now those are good prospects. They should fight each other.
Nick Phillippus says, Paulie is great, but he sometimes is biased towards fighters he doesn't like.
Cheryl Lee, one of my instructors. Hi, Cheryl Lee. How you doing?
I mean, Paulie might be. It's hard for me to pick that up. I mean, I can't say that he is biased towards him, and he's not. You know, I can't put words in his mouth or his head.
Yeah.
Stephen Carter says Crawford versus Floyd plays. No, which one did I miss?
Lori Greenwald is watching. Lori is watching.
Hey, Lori, what's up? Oh, he says, do you see Wilder go off on Paulie?
Who?
Wilder go off on Paulie.
For what? Because Paulie probably said something that was true.
Jim Lampley was the best commentator. I got to put him up there. Not so much of the sport or anything,
he was a good color guy.
He was.
He was a good color guy. He was like Al Bernstein, a good color guy. Some of those guys that keep you engaged. But Lampley was too damn emotional. It was like having another woman in there. No offense, guys, but he'd get emotional, start crying and shit.
Is Spence considered a throwback fighter? Or is he new school in his own fight style? I think he's a good mix of both, Damon. That's a hell of a question.
Great question.
I think he is. I think he's a split right down the middle. He has that. You see that it took him no time when he was in there with Porter, and I watched it in the second round. Spence, I don't know if anybody else picked it up. Spence got in there, and I think it was the second round, and he started doing a little move. Yeah. He was doing a half step. Every time Porter would come in, he went back, and that's when he caught early on. He caught Porter with that left hand right down the middle. And he tried doing it a couple times after that because it worked. And when he went to go do it, Porter came in, and that's when Spence fell off balance and into the ropes and almost rolled an ankle trying to do that. And I think at that point, you've seen the throwback fighter and Spence come out. He said, excuse my language, he goes, fuck it. And that's when he started going back in. Go back, watch that fight, guys, and pick it up and tell me if I'm wrong. And then he went in there and he just started going to town with Porter because Porter makes you do that. Or Spence had a little thing there that worked for him for a split second, and he was like, "This is going to work. I don't have to get in a dogfight with him." But then the next thing you know, you've seen that did not work for Spence because of Porter's style. Porter keeps doing that, and then everything changed. Go back, watch that, guys.
Guys go back to what they know. Yep. And that's what's funny. Everybody says, oh, they're changing their style. Nobody changes their style. They go back to who they are.
I don't think it's so much what he knows. I think that he knew that it was a totally different fighter that he couldn't do that with.
Yeah.
Because Porter's too strong and is going to come in and keep, bum rushing you.
People don't realize he was a super middleweight when he turned pro. He was not a welterweight. He was a super middleweight that came down. What was he, 165? He wasn't even 68. He was 65 when he came in.
Iso said he went off on Paulie saying he was biased towards Fury.
I don't think that I think Wilder's looking for somebody to blame. I think the last person I call biased is Paulie Malignaggi in the sport.
Yeah, and I didn't see it, and I can't say he's biased. I mean, for what? Because he thought Fury won that fight. Yeah, I did too. Sorry, guys. I mean, besides the knockdown, Fury almost won. He outboxed Wilder. I'm sorry. I don't.
Cheryl Lee sent us a little.
I didn't get to see it, Iso. So I do not know. I didn't watch it. But and he may be too. I'm not saying that you're wrong on that at all.
Cheryl Lee said a smiley face with hearts in the eyes. The beautiful Cheryl Lee Craft.
Hey, Shirley.
Cheryl Lee.
Shirley.
Yep.
Shirley.
The beautiful Cheryl Lee. Kevin Kennedy's watching. We can't do a show without Kevin.
I will tell you what.
Can't do a show.
This is part of the show. We got to wrap up early today. Our boy got a big project tomorrow.
Big project. What do you got going on? Our producer. What you got going on, Justin? We got a project too in a few days. We got a project, Kelly.
What's that?
It's a secret project, but we have a project. Remember the project?
No. The who?
But we got a project too. It's called Project Ambulance.
Project
Lifesaver.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yama says, I predicted 9-round stoppage because I thought Spence would be able to do more of what he did. Nothing wrong with that. I predicted the same thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it would go late or it'd be a decision for Spence. I thought it would be an easier fight for Spence. I was wrong.
I got sidetracked though on the project. Hold on. So I was in the middle of doing something.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. That's the first thing I started thinking about. So, anyways, yeah. So I do want to get this out there. I think somebody asked about the Sweet Science, but also the Sweet Science is out now and is available for purchase.
Oh shit! For iPhone, right?
For iPhone. Go out, get it. It's a great freaking app. You learn boxing. I know a lot of you guys are boxing fans, and you can do the shit from home. If you ain't got a heavy bag, you could use 1 or 2 pound dumbbells. Okay. Then it has the workouts in between that'll get you strong, ripped, lose weight.
I heard you do nutrition too.
Yeah, and we have a nutrition plan on there, a diet, recipes, everything else. I mean, guys, you can't beat this. It's like a sore Venus. So check it out. Like, you're getting everything that you want, and you got me and Billy Lau, 2 real fighters. You don't got Billy Blanks or this guy that goes to the YMCA. Because I am. You don't got a guy that goes to the YMCA and works out and looks good because he got muscles.
Michael Alahide.
Yeah, you got real fighters that been to the top, showing you the ins and outs and the ropes.
I've been to your house. I've seen those Tae Bo DVDs tucked away.
I do be gotten them.
That Sam has them. No. Sarah Naya. Oh, Sarah Naya, my crush. No, Sarah's on. Great show. Thank you, Sarah. My Uncle Gaddy's on here. What's up? And
let me hit this real quick. Nick says they're talking about Paulie being biased.
Okay.
Nick said he even said Canelo fighting Kovalev is a joke of a fight or something to that extent.
A lot of people see the same thing.
But Leonard said I like that Paulie isn't afraid to call out PD users, and and you know what, you need people in a sport like that. And Goodfellas says what Ryan Garcia would have to do to beat a prime pretty boy Floyd.
Get a new body and a new head and new arms and
call in Haramba.
Call in Canelo for help.
Call him more than that. What is Canelo going to do?
Well, both of them at the same time, right?
Canelo had his opportunity.
Both of them at the same time, I'm saying. But Kevin said, I expected a great fight. I got what I wanted. Of course. Omar said, Kelly, would you consider coming out of retirement for Chavez Jr.? It would be an easy comeback fight.
I would like to, but no, man. Because
that would be like beating up that fucking heavy bag out there for $1 million. But
I got to lose weight.
Oh, Chavez will come in heavier than you. Don't worry about it.
No, he won't.
He eats cereal he eats cereal in the morning. Remember that? He'd come in there with panties on and shit. It's like beating that heavy bag for $1 million.
Oh, I would, honestly, I mean.
Bro, I would push you out there. I'd push you out like, come on.
There wouldn't even be enough money for me to have to go through to have to lose weight again.
$1 million?
No, fuck no.
What about 2 million?
No.
3?
Fuck it.
3 million to become a
give cruiserweight? Me 10 million, I'll come
cruiserweight.
Back. No, you give
fight
me
Chavez at cruiserweight?
No, you give me 10 million, I'll come back fight Chavez Jr.
At cruiserweight?
At cruiserweight, absolutely.
10 million.
10 million.
Fuck, you give me 10,000, I'll fight Chavez Jr. right fucking now.
But that's okay.
I'll fight him.
I understand, but I'm not.
No, I won't do it for 10,000. Cereal, see, they're saying the same cereal in his underoos because he did. He was eating his underoos. He was in camp.
Leonard Holtz said, Goodfellas, Ryan Garcia would need a baseball bat to beat Floyd in his prime. Better have spikes on it.
Bro, Floyd in his prime at 130 and 135, comatose people. He was not the Floyd of 147. Floyd would hit you and end your day quick. Ask Diego Corrales, who's an all-time great.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. Jeez.
That is Floyd. I don't think a lot of people remember how special Floyd was at that time. They look at Floyd at welterweight. They didn't see what we saw at 30 and 35. A lot of people did, but they forget.
Okay, but I'm gonna go back to it. If Shane would have fought Floyd at 35.
Oh, I don't know, man. But Shane was special too at 35.
That's what I'm saying. Probably one of the best. Oh, okay, we're off on that.
But hey, it was a great show today, Kelly.
Was.
Fantastic show.
Get out.
Oh, Diego's on the Hall of Fame ballot, they said.
Oh, sweet.
It's your year to get on that ballot too, finally, right?
I don't know this year if I am.
You know what? I hope they put Gennaro Hernandez on.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get on yet.
I would like to see Gennaro Fernando get in finally. But hey, before we get on.
I think about another. Honestly, I just got eligible.
Yeah,
I think about another 10 years. I mean, you got guys, you have great fighters that still haven't.
Thank you, Harvey. I appreciate it. Good show, guys. He said. See you on the next one.
You.
Awesome. Dayton said Floyd had bad hands. He did, and that's. And
everybody knew that.
We knew that. But give a shout out for Pelos.
Oh yeah, guys, listen. Good friend, really good friend of ours, and close to the Garcia family.
No, he's a nephew.
He's
Robert and Mikey's nephew.
He
former contender.
Well, you know more of it, but he's not doing too well right now.
No.
Go ahead on the rest of it.
I guess Ellie had put a video out. I don't know. I haven't contacted the family, but Pelos Garcia is not doing so well. So if you guys could keep him in your positive thoughts and prayers and reach out for the best. That's the nephew. He was a contender, a professional fighter.
Yeah.
The nephew of Mikey Garcia and Robert Garcia.
Super nice kid.
Great kid. Just got his master's degree teaching.
Yeah. Actually, that's the Ellie setback video with the snake prank.
Was Pelos.
With Pelos. I've always had fun with Pelos, and he's just a super nice kid.
I love Pelos.
Guys, keep him in your prayers.
I spent a lot of time at his house in Oxnard. I'd go over there and hang out and stuff. I just wish the best for the family and hope that whatever's going on, he comes through just fine. And keep him in your positive prayers and make positive posts for him, whatever.
And I'm going to answer one more question. Under Ugly and Proud said, International Boxing Hall of Fame lowered eligibility to 3 years after retirement. I know, so that's probably definitely going to keep me out for a while. So.
Sarah said, I was watching on Instagram. Well, thank you, Sarah, for watching on Instagram.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. All right, guys, we are out. Tune in, go to YouTube, share, subscribe, ring of the bell.
Yeah, that bell.
Go check out the Sweet Science Plus app.
Awesome.
It's on the thing, so that's what the app will look like in the App Store. See you next week.
Unless we do a companion.
Oh, we might be doing a fight companion.
We might be doing the fight companion on the Triple G fight, guys.
We'll see.
We'll have to ask Justin what he has planned for us.
Not guaranteed. Justin's a busy man.
He said we could do it. We're like, fuck yeah.
Must be Christmas. All right. Bye.
All right, guys. Have a good week.